How to make $15,000 every 15 minutes, part 2. In the first part, we were looking at how to double our productivity is to begin to listen to media at twice the speed, 1.5 speed. Speed it up so that you just to the edge of chaos, too uncomfortable, but yet listening. And not to notice that to brag about this, to know this, but it's around how are you a different listener? And so what I want you to listen to is listening to our thoughts and our feelings, to pull them apart. And what we're going to put our focus on in our feelings is our sabotaging patterns. This is the main pattern that we run between what we want and what we have. And this is really, it's a negative pattern. It comes from fear. It's why we can't have what we want. And it's the story that we've been telling ourselves forever. And we have so many ways to get around it and away from it. For us, like our challenge is to be aware of our techniques, our tactics that our self-conscious uses to get us around that. And so what we'll focus here on the next, what we focus on here is the sabotaging patterns. And this is the pattern between staying safe and going for the new experience. You can feel the conflict. One wants to stay safe. This is our unconscious. And there's an aspect of you that wants new experiences, that wants to experience life. And it is these two aspects work in tandem to produce life, to produce reality. And so when we can become aware of what this tension is in our body and work to align it, then we know that we're out of our sabotaging patterns. We're going for what we want and there's no resistance to it. So our sabotaging patterns, what we're going to focus, like our sabotaging patterns exist in two places. There's thoughts and feelings. They say we have 6,000 thoughts a day and 2 feelings, positive or negative. And they say that these thoughts, these 6,000 thoughts, are in a negative pattern 80% of the time. These 6,000 thoughts are in a pattern 80% of the time that's negative. This is average. What this says is that a majority of our time is negative. And when we can begin to be aware of this negative feeling, this is our resistance, then we can train our body to follow, to take the action that we want to take. But we have to become aware of our sabotaging patterns. And there's 6 ways that we sabotage our patterns that we really have to dig deep through and pay attention on and put focus into. And so in this is like, why can't you have $15,000 every 15 minutes? And it's either you're not good enough, you can't have that, you're not worthy of that, you've never done it, that means you're not capable of it. And then, or that like you don't know enough, you have to accumulate more knowledge, more experiences. You have to learn more. You're not ready for that position. You're not ready for that role. And these are just ways that we sabotage ourselves and that fights us for going for what we want. And then on top of that, we're not clear of what we really want. And there's 6, so those are the 6 core sabotaging patterns that would show up as one that I'm not good enough, that's always going for more, always producing more, never will have enough. And it's part of our aspects, our childhood, that is proving that we're important in this play, when we're good enough, then we can finally be important. And this is for achievers, this is going for success, and this is going for money. There's I'm not worthy, and this person is very helpful. And like when they help enough, when they give enough, then they can receive it, but they never end up receiving it. They never end up allowing what they giving out. And so there's not any worth, there's blame into this and resentment. And this is not worthy. There's a not capable. I don't know enough, and they're always out searching for more certifications, more knowledge, capabilities, skills to improve. And so it's like when you have enough, then finally I can have it. To be perfect. It's like, oh, when it all comes together, when it all perfect, when it all lines up, then I can have it. And then I don't belong, or I can't do it, or I just don't have the resources. There's a run around like not believing in yourself, not believing in others. And so there's a one, it's like not belonging. It's not being included. It's being an outcast. It's being judged by others. And so these are 6 ways that we sabotage what we want. And it's part of this civil war, the sabotaging patterns. And when we can pull apart the thoughts that are negative, we can say, when we pull away the thoughts, the feelings, and notice that they're in the negative direction, a direction that we don't want to be in, we can ask, what is the story? Why do I feel this way? What's making me happen? What am I responding to? And what we find is that it's a story that we've made up. And what we can say is like, this is what we want. This becomes aware of our starting position. We can say, is this what I want? Is this how I want to feel? And then when we remember, no, like, this is what I want. This is my true choice, which we'll talk about next week. We'll talk about our true choices next week. The feeling of growth, of good, of amplification. It's like when we're in that true choice, then we can go for what we want. But we have to remove that resistance out of the way. And the recode, which is what you'll learn after that, gets us in alignment, removes the resistance so that we have no resistance to go for what we want. And that allows us to flow into it, to go for it, to have it without resistance, which is what we want. And so in this is to remove this resistance to how to make $15,000 in 15 minutes. First one is to double your productivity in the direction of what you want. So let's aim it at 15K every 15 minutes. And then what we do is we notice what resistance comes up in the way of that, of why we can't have it, what stories, beliefs, feelings all around that, knowing that we can't have it. And then we learn to do the recode and remove them out of the way. But all these are your sabotaging beliefs that are keeping you from it. They tell you why you can't have it. And they just limit what is possible for us. And to let go of it is to notice that we have more choices. There's more alternatives than just the automatic, just the one that we put down. And then we teach our body to make new actions rather than the old habits. We put new habits and structures in. And when we do this, we can use the recode as part of a recode or rewire between your thoughts and your feelings so that you can take the action. See, that's why we don't take the action. It's the fear. It's this aspect. It's this resistance keeping us from it. And we're so afraid to look through it on what's on the other side of what we'll find. But what we find is that it's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a story that we've put in place that we say we're afraid to go through. And so this is noticing our sabotaging patterns, and look forward to talking about the next one on the next version. And so that what we'll talk about next is focusing on what you want. On you want is a true choice, rather than being in a negative vision, like fulfilling a fear, fulfilling what we're avoiding, rather than going for what we want. We want to be going for true choices. And this is where we can get confused. This is where we are confused and why we don't have what we want. This is another place. We think we have true choices, but in all reality, they're just to resolve, to fix a problem that we say we have, because we're giving our power away because of our patterns. And then after that, when we learn to unpack the resistance, see what's in the way, see the beliefs, is then we can use an aspect of you called your superconscious, your intuition, to bring in and teach it a recode process that can remove all this resistance, all these stories, all these limitations in the way, and lay out, open up, unlock what your true passion is, your true journey, what your next action is, and then take that action so that your body is in harmony with it. You're in alignment and you can go for what you want. And so that is what we will be covering in this 4th section. This is how to make $15,000 every 15 minutes. When we're aware of this, we can shape our intentions, and we can do this every 15 minutes with the intention, with the focus, and without the resistance. But we have to learn what all these are.